Hi, I'm Dan Coffin, owner of SPNC Corp. And longtime agronomist. And I wanted to talk to you a few minutes today about a product that we call BD1 Stubble Digester. And BD1 Stubble Digester, just as it's named, is a product that actually helps us break down and degrade corn stalks from the fall to the spring time of year. The key ingredient in BD1 is a group of organisms called Environoc 401 that we purchase from Biodyne. And those organisms are specifically designed to work on cellulose, starches, and lignin that's present within those stalks and break down the cellular structure to allow that plant to basically kind of come unglued. By coming unglued, that takes the resistance that you would normally get with tillage or planter operations and allows those stalks to cut right through them with the physical weight of any of that equipment. So it's going to basically turn those stalks into eggshells, open them up, allow nutrients that you've actually bought, purchased, and stored in those stalks to be released, guess where? Right back on top to that plant, so that on top of the soil, so that by the spring the plant's going to find them again next year. So how can we actually use that product and make it successful? Well, the best thing to do is, as soon as you can, if it's possible, once you get the crop harvested here in the fall, is to get the product sprayed onto those stalks. Even the old cellulose, which is the material that kind of resembles styrofoam in the center of those stalks, that would be cellulose. Lignin is more woody materials. So as you guys recognize, the whole idea of the GMO stalks have been more lignified. That means their stalks and outsides are very, very rigid. They're very, very difficult to break down. These organisms actually work on breaking that stuff down so that it's not going to be standing there intact next year. The other thing that's important to recognize about this product that makes it different is, when I said starch a while ago, or waxes, or lipids as they are technically termed, there are actual enzymes that break down the wax on the outside of that stalk, and that material has to be gotten rid of first before the good stalk degradation can happen. So products that might contain organisms that only work on lignin and cellulose, if you don't get rid of the wax, they're not going to work very fast, or they have to work from the inside out, not the outside in at the same time. The other thing is, making applications, again, as we said, in the fall, as long as you're making those applications before frost and freeze, you're going to be fine. I never tell people to actually go out and spray it the same day of a severe freeze, because you'll be freezing these tiny organisms. These are live bacteria and a little bit of fungi. And you never want to freeze them at night really quickly after just applying. As long as you've got a day or two or three before a major freeze event, you'll still be fine, because they'll actually dig in zillions and zillions of little holes into these stalks, get inside, and they'll be able to work even in the warm days of the fall and early winter, and then they'll kick back into gear in the spring. Bringing up the whole idea that, can we make the applications in the spring? The answer is yes, we can apply in the spring. However, if you don't get it on until early to mid-April, you're not going to get the stalk degradation to get a lot of help out of the stubble digester in that short period of time. You really need 2 or 3 or 4 weeks minimum to be able to get some good resiliency of those products working and actually making them into rubber and then a little bit into eggshells. The other thing it will do is, over time, is it will release a little carbon up into the canopy. So during the summer, if you get these materials laid down and they kind of act nicely as a little mulch, hold moisture, and in the summer they're still breaking down and they're releasing carbon into the canopy, that's driving your photosynthesis machine. So there's ways to be able to understand how you're going to get higher yields as a result of using these materials, both through uniformity of planting, good quality breakdown of materials that tillage is removing for you if you're still into conventional till or minimum till situations, or even in no-till, you're not going to find your stalks binding up in your planters nearly as difficultly. The BD1 actually has food in it. So if you're going to make an application of BD1, it's going to cost you roughly $10 an acre. That's a pint of the 501 organisms with a pint of food sources. If you want to combine that with a little nitrogen in the fall, that's fine, but you're not applying nitrogen to overcome the carbon to nitrogen ratio. So don't get confused and think that if we're telling you only to put on 1 to 2 quarts, maybe even a gallon of 32%, 28% or amthio, that's plenty. It's not to overcome the carbon to nitrogen ratio. It's to feed these microbes and let them grow. The other thing is you can also mix these with chemicals. If you're making a fall pass or a spring pass, they can go in with chemicals. In all of these situations where you're combining the microbes with either nitrogen or chemicals, please make those a just-in-time mix. So the chemicals will not necessarily kill all the microbes, but they will knock the populations back a little bit in time. So what I'm saying is don't pre-mix them for 1 to 2 or 3 weeks down the line if you can avoid it. Make them a just-in-time mix as you go. And if you have your own humics or fulvics or sugars that you possess on your farm and you want to use the straight EnviroKnock 501 organisms that are the organisms that do the work, that product's going to cost you probably about $7 to $8 an acre, and then you can put a pint of your own food sources in there if you want to, and you can make your own BD1, because really that's what we're doing here. So hopefully that's enough to allow you to make a good decision on using these products this fall. Or in the spring, but hopefully this fall. If you have questions about it, get a hold of the representative who gave you that information, or you can call us here at the general number at SPNC Corp at area code 260-478-8080. Thanks and have a great day.